Have you ever wondered why some people seem to achieve extraordinary things while others remain stuck in the same routines year after year? What is the secret to leaving behind a mediocre self and unlocking your full potential? For many, life feels like an endless cycle, repeating the same mistakes and feeling trapped in a tunnel without light. But what if I told you that the light at the end of that tunnel isn't something you wait for? It's something you create. This journey begins with one fundamental truth. The power to transform lies in what you know and how you use it. Imagine being handed a book that contains all the secrets to living a fulfilling and successful life, but it's in a language you don't understand. Frustrating, right? This is exactly how life feels when you don't possess the knowledge you need. Let's dive into how we can break through that barrier and step into a version of ourselves we've only dreamt of. Part 1. The power of belief, hope, and action. Let's start with the basics: belief, hope, and action. These three pillars are the foundation for any personal transformation. Without belief, you won't even start. Without hope, you won't have the direction to keep going. And without action, you'll never see results. Belief is like the soil in which you plant the seeds of change. If you don't believe you can change, then you're unlikely to put in the effort to do so. Think about a time when you succeeded at something. It likely started with the belief that it was possible. Hope is what keeps you moving forward. It's the light that pulls you toward a better future, even when things seem dark. Without hope, you lose sight of your goals and fall back into old habits. Action is where the magic happens. Even if you believe and hope, nothing changes without action. And to take action, you need knowledge. Practical, applicable knowledge that turns intentions into reality. Part 2. The barrier of ignorance. Imagine a scenario. You're given a manuscript in Arabic, a language you don't know. This manuscript holds the key to a secret that could revolutionize your life, but without understanding the language, it's meaningless. This is a perfect metaphor for many of life's challenges. Often we hit obstacles not because we are incapable, but because we don't have the necessary knowledge. A personal story of ignorance. Years ago, I had a stubborn habit that nearly cost me my health. I would drive in the hot sun, refusing to wear sunscreen or protective gear. I disliked the feeling of fabric on my skin, convinced it was a minor inconvenience. Despite family and friends urging me to protect myself, I dismissed their advice. I simply didn't know any better. Only later, when I started researching the harmful effects of UV rays and pollution, did I realize the risks I had been taking. This wasn't just about wearing sunscreen, it was about acknowledging that there were things I didn't know. Things that, if ignored, could lead to serious consequences. Once I knew better, my behavior changed, and I started to take proactive steps to protect myself. Part 3. How knowledge transforms perception. The moment you learn something new, your perception of the world shifts. You see things you couldn't before, and you begin to act differently. Knowledge doesn't just fill gaps in understanding, it opens doors to new opportunities. The case of financial literacy. Take Sarah, a young entrepreneur who started her first business with little understanding of financial management. Her initial venture was a disaster, with debts piling up and profits dwindling. It wasn't until she took a financial literacy course that she began to understand the basics of budgeting, investing, and managing cash flow. Equipped with this new knowledge, she transformed her business, turning it into a success story. Sarah's story highlights a crucial point. You don't know what you don't know, and it's that unknown that often stands between you and your goals. It's not enough to work hard, you have to work smart, and that means learning from your mistakes and acquiring the knowledge to avoid them in the future. Part 4. The evolution of self-awareness. There's a profound shift that happens when you move from ignorance to awareness. It's like lifting a veil. You see the world with new eyes, and you realize that much of what held you back wasn't external circumstances, but your own limited understanding. Health and nutrition, a story of transformation. John was always struggling with weight. He tried diet after diet, each one promising quick results but leaving him feeling worse than before. It wasn't until he began to educate himself about nutrition, understanding macros, reading about the science of metabolism, and learning about portion control that he began to see real, lasting changes. What made the difference? It was knowledge that empowered him to make informed choices, and those choices transformed his body and health. Part 5. Practical Lessons for Personal Growth. Let's draw some practical lessons from these stories. Here are 3 concrete actions you can take to say goodbye to your mediocre self. Seek out knowledge. Make learning a daily habit. Whether it's reading a book, taking an online course, or talking to someone who's been where you want to go, commit to expanding your mind. Apply what you learn. Knowledge without action is useless. As you learn, put it into practice. Start small but be consistent. Each step forward, no matter how minor, moves you closer to your goal. Reflect and adjust. Regularly assess what you've learned and how it's impacting your life. Don't be afraid to change course if something isn't working. Flexibility is a sign of wisdom, not weakness. Part 6. Embrace lifelong learning. The best part of saying goodbye to your old self is realizing that there's always more to learn. The journey doesn't end when you reach one goal. It evolves as you evolve. Embrace curiosity and be willing to challenge what you think you know. Conclusion. Write your own story. In the end, the path to leaving behind a mediocre self is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about being better today than you were yesterday. Knowledge is the compass that guides your journey, and action is the vehicle that drives you forward. So, what will you do next? Will you stay where you are, comfortable but unfulfilled, or will you step into the unknown, armed with curiosity and the desire to grow? Remember, the power to change is already within you. It starts with acknowledging what you don't know, and from there, the sky is the limit. Take the first step today and let's say farewell to the mediocre me together.